feel like I'm rambling. How do I say that? Wild yeasts. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Tuesday and it's a Tuesday Truth Day, and I am going to be sharing truth with you and sharing wisdom that I believe God has given me this past weekend. I entitled this Wild Yeasts because of a conversation that I had with my dad. I had been feeling, I think, spirit-led to start eating gluten again, and many of you know that I have not been eating gluten for a while now, just because I thought it was an allergy or maybe a sensitivity to gluten, and I felt in my spirit that I was supposed to start making bread. And like, if you're sensitive to gluten, that's not exactly a good thing. But then a couple days later, I had a young woman pray over me, praying to heal my gut, heal my stomach and my intestines, and I feel like I am healed, like I am supposed to eat gluten again. I began the process of making a sourdough starter last week. So if you don't know what that is, it is continually, daily feeding this flour water concoction. It looks really gross right now because it's growing. This is Bob. I named him Bob because he needed to be fed and he needed to be watered and nurtured, and so I thought I would give him a name. So I chose Bob because it wasn't too endearing. Anyway, one of the things that is very important for this type of flour, it's a weak gluten type of flour. To create a good starter, it needs a lot of wild yeasts. And if you don't have a lot of wild yeasts in your kitchen when you're baking, it doesn't start very well. You need a lot of time to help nourish and grow this starter. And then once it gets all bubbly, it means it's strong. And right now I actually see a couple bubbles. So this is getting stronger. But with a strong yeast, a strong starter, you get things like good bread. And this is what I did this weekend. I made this really yummy einkorn flour loaf. I began to converse with my dad about the concept of wild yeasts needed to be in the air, in the kitchen, to help the starter grow stronger. And I give all of this video credit to my dad because he started talking about like the community of believers and the community of having those wild yeasts in the air to grow this community. Because if there are no wild yeasts in the air, it takes a while. It takes a struggling type of growth for this sourdough starter to begin to liven up, to awaken. But if there are wild yeasts in the air, if there are, let's say, there are Christians among you, there are other believers among you, it is easier to cultivate a good community. It is easier to be strong together. You don't feel isolated. Even though the term wild yeast is like you're on your own, you're independent, you're floating in the air. No, like those yeasts come together in this starter. They form this gluten structure. They form this beginning of a relationship. And I was reading in Proverbs 24, in verse 3, it says, "Wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, communities, and through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure." And I was looking at different versions of this verse, and the one that stuck out to me was the Passion Translation, where it says, wise people are builders. If you want to be that wise person, a wise person is a builder. It's a builder of families. It's a builder of businesses. It's a builder of communities. And where is your community? How does it function? What does it look like? Is it a strong sourdough starter? Or is it, have you never baked einkorn bread before? Like, if you haven't baked the bread before, the starter doesn't begin strong. It takes a while. Are you okay, baby? But if you have been baking, if you have been cultivating this atmosphere of community, then this community structure is stronger. This family structure is stronger. And it even goes to say the business structure is stronger if you have that community, that sense of community, and those influences around you, those strong influences cultivating a community. In Acts 4, verse 32, it says, "All the believers were one in mind and heart. Selfishness was not a part of their community, for they shared everything they had with one another." I just think this is so relevant, even though it was written 2,000 years ago. All the believers were in one mind, one heart, unified community. They were one together. They knew their strengths, they knew their weaknesses, so they come together to become stronger. There was no selfishness among them. They shared everything. And a lot of people look at this passage, and I definitely encourage you to read chapter 4, verses 23 through 27 to get the whole context of what is being talked about. A lot of people will talk about the sharing everything that is like your physical, like share your clothes, share your food, share your money, share, and some insurance places have begun because of this concept. And that's beautiful, but I think it's deeper than just sharing your things with people. It's sharing your heart with people. It's sharing your thoughts with people. It's sharing shoulders to cry on, to carry that burden. It's being that community. And I want to encourage you to begin, if you have never been in a part of a community like that, to be that wild yeast, to start something new, to begin that baking process of this new community. And if you have been a part of a community, a strong community, then good for you. Keep going. Keep strengthening this community. Don't let each other fall into the gaps. Hold together. Become a strong starter, a strong sourdough starter, because then your bread will rise. I thought of this image that Jesus is the bread of life, and if we are called as believers, as Christ followers, to be like Jesus, not that we could ever become the bread of life like Jesus, but to live that out, that becoming a starter in a sense, becoming that bread-like structure, a community, and coming together, and just being family, being one with each other, one in heart and one in mind. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understood it. I hope I wasn't just rambling. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, and please share it with your friends. Share it with YouTube community. Thank you for subscribers that have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button and become a part of this community, and we can share together and create together. And thanks for sticking around, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye. Oh, that's really bad shadows.